All right. So tell me in the chat, do you think this slide passes the accessibility checker? So you can just vote yes, no. You can even let me know, does it require a lot of effort from you? How do you feel about it? I'm seeing a lot of no's, which you would think, yes, yikes, I agree. Um, a lot of effort. It probably does, Jennifer. Yeah. Color contrast not great. So let's move on to the next slide, Lewis, and let's let everyone know. It does. It passes the PowerPoint technical accessibility. Um, it did actually pass. And that's actually why I created it. So the learner can technically access the content. It meets WCAG double A requirements, but they may never reach understanding or engagement because we've asked their brain to do too much before the learning even begins. So let's head on to the next slide and I'll tell you why it meets the requirements. So the text is above the minimum size. It's a little bit smaller in the environment that we're looking at right now, just because of the Zoom setup. It has proper heading structure. Alternate text has been provided. It passes the color contrast. Um, the screen reader is compatible. I double checked, triple checked. It did pass. Um, so let's have a look at the next slide. And would you enjoy learning from this? I think everyone has pretty much said no. So let's move to the next one. I think a lot of you have already answered my questions here. What's making this feel difficult? So, a lot of people have said color contrast, too much information. Agreed, all of those things. So, let's move forward on to the next one. Ta-da! So, what changed? Throw your thoughts in the chat for me. How is this one different? It's the same information. Yep, formatting, it's chunked, lighter, brighter, easier to read. It's guiding people where to look. It's got that structural hierarchy to it. Less emphasis on the picture. That is such a great comment. I always tell people text is more important than pictures, especially when they're decorative. I know a lot of designers, when they're looking, they really love to like focus and center on their beautiful pictures. And then the text is like an afterthought, but we really do have to switch it around. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So here's the real difference. The after version has one clear purpose. We've chunked all the information, clear visual hierarchy. The contrast is much easier to read, and the learner knows where to start. We're actually leading them along the slide. And that's what we actually want to see. And next slide, please. So the content didn't change, but the learner's experience did. And the PowerPoint accessibility checker was not able to check that. Um, let's move on to the next slide. We're making up time here because I know people have lives to live and places to be. So every unnecessary ounce of mental effort is effort your learner can't spend learning. So it's so important that we make it easy for them to learn the information that we're actually giving to them. So let's go to the next slide. So human variability and processing capacity. So processing capacity, it's the amount of effort, mental effort that's actually available for us to process information. And it's going to change person to person, moment to moment. Have you had some days where like I get out of bed and I pour my milk into the sugar instead of into my tea? Those are days when you might have lower processing capacity. And everyone goes through that. So let's add your thoughts to the chat for this. What's going to reduce people's processing capacity before they even get into your e-learning course or your webinar or your presentation? Why might someone's brain have less processing capacity today? Let's throw those into the chat. Like this morning, lack of sleep, time of day, absolutely. If you give me learning at 2 p.m., I'm already into the junk food. Worry and stress, mental health fluctuations. Maybe they're busy with other deliverables, hunger, no coffee. Oh my goodness, I can't even imagine. I went 3 days without coffee last week. It was pretty scary. Migraines, tech failures, absolutely. Sometimes if my laptop isn't working, I will switch to my phone, so my screen is much smaller. General life, menopause, oh, I'm with you there, girl. Hormone changes, really bad in the AM. Yep, for sure. All right, so uh, let's switch to the next slide. So every learner is bringing a different capacity each day with them. So it could be physical or mental health, their environment, maybe they're on a bus, maybe they're in a busy restaurant, disability, neurodivergence, life in general. Some of these are permanent, some of them are temporary, some of them are visible, a lot of them are invisible. And none of them are going to be checked by your automatic accessibility checkers in your software. So that's where we come in. It's really important for us to think about these things. So next slide, please. So accessibility is our starting point. I know I keep trying to hammer this home, but the goal is actual success. That's the success of the framework in total. On to the next slide, please. So across every tool, whether you're creating content in Storyline, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Adobe, any of those, every accessibility checker, it's going to share strengths and limitations. Some of them are better than others, but none of them can measure what we've been talking about today. So your professional judgment is going to determine the learner's actual experience. And if you can have people within your organization that maybe they are neurodivergent, maybe they do have a disability, get them to run through your learning before you release it. Do a pilot and include people who would like to be testers for it, so that they can go through it and be your true accessibility checker, your human accessibility checker. Next slide, please. Okay, so accessibility checkers, they're essential, and they're really helpful. And compliance, we all know, is the beginning, not the end. And we need to design for human variability. And in order to do that, we need to ask four important questions. And that's the framework that I've been going through with you today. So, Lewis, if you could go to the next slide, please. Accessing the information based on your technical accessibility checker, that's the first step. And it's an important step. But the three that we're adding today is, can they understand it? Can they engage with it? And can they succeed with it? That's the most important one. These are the four questions that actually became the human review checklist that you all received earlier. So you've all got a copy of that. We really need to make sure that our students can actually succeed with the information, not that it's just technically accessible. And the last slide. Yeah, so that's the end of my presentation. I'd love to take any questions or thoughts or discussion that you might have. Visit my new website. Or I'm also in partnership with Mindset DEI, some amazing courses. But yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts and questions on what was discussed today or even the framework.
Nice. I'm just going to leave this slide up for a second so everyone can, if you want to use those QR codes and head over there, you can take a look. I do think this was great, Donna. Thank you so much. And
Yeah.
I was watching for questions, but I do think that there was something just a little bit ago where PF Anderson talked about this comment here. Pictures, even decorative, can be super critical for ADHD progress tracking. And then Jocelyn had asked for more context so that she could understand, and asks, pictures are necessary. Is that what you're saying? Just need to be mindful of size. And then PF says, I have trouble realizing when slides have changed unless there are spatial, color, image, or other visual cues. It's like I can't even see the slide if it stays too much the same. I appreciate slides having progress lines or dots or using decorative elements to cue me in that this is a new and different slide. And that conversation went on for a little bit. So I thought that was very interesting.
So, just to clarify, so when you're doing the slides that are like building on each other, is that when they're asking if we can add progress bars or something like that so that they know that we're adding components to the same slide? Is that the context that they mean?
Let's see we'll wait for a reply from
Here we
PF
go.
in
With a
chat.
similar header. Oh, I see. I'm just reading it now.
Hmm.
That's a great comment, actually. I've never even thought about that. And that really highlights the importance of testing your learning and your presentations with lots of different people so that you can learn different aspects. So going forward, PF, I will absolutely in my presentations make sure that I do that so that other people can access it more easily.